Hi, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Hope everybody's doing well. It's kind of a cloudy day in New York. It's been a couple of real hot days. I think we're going to have a lot more hot weather in the week coming up. Just let me see. Ooh, lots of people waiting. Hello, Marilyn's Tarot Take. Hello, Red Wing. Hello, William Stalker Highsmith. Hello, Saskia Handley. Hello, Timmy Raven. And hello, Elspeth. And Moom in Tarot. People keep trickling in. So, again, here I am Saturday with not sure what I'm going to talk about and debating during the week. Oh, should I cancel my Saturday if I don't have anything to talk about, or will something come up? And something always comes up. So during the week, well, actually a couple weeks ago, I had visited a friend's house and we were celebrating her birthday. And she had some art on her wall by Gustav Klimt. And she also, excuse me, she also happens to take private Zoom tarot lessons with me. And so I mentioned that there is a Klimt tarot, which sort of interested her. Now, I wasn't sure about this because I think that the Klimt tarot is something that's not easy to read with. Hello, Claire. And there are a couple different versions of it, but even if you had the ideal version, it still wouldn't be easy to read with. It's a pip deck, so it's not exactly scenic. It's like arrangements of pips laid over paintings by Gustav Klimt. And it's pretty. It's been embellished with gold foil. But it's a little bit problematic to read with unless you really know how to read with pips, or you really know the Rider-Waite-Smith system, which I do, and can sort of translate in your head as you go, which is kind of what I do. But anyway, what I thought was, she'll either learn how to read with these, I can help her, or she can just have it as an art card collectible deck because it's very pretty. Now, I debated which version to get her because for me, there's not an ideal version out yet. And there's a regular size version and a pocket golden edition, and both of them have this gold foil kind of, or gold embellishments on it there. I don't know if the camera's picking up the gold, and I thought that was important that she have a version that has that, but they both do. I had forgotten actually that the smaller one does. So in some ways, I prefer the smaller edition because it doesn't have the multiple languages. Now, I like Los Scarabeo. Some people don't like them. I like their cardstock. I like everything about them, except I don't like that they tend to do this thing with multiple languages. And as time went on, they started putting symbols on the borders instead of languages. I'm going to show you an example. So here's the back design, which is reversible. And I'm not that keen on this flip-flop back design. I think I'd been just as happy if they'd just done like a klimt pattern on the back instead of trying to put a figure on it and then chopping her in half and doubling her. But here's a sample card, and you can see the gold embellishments, which are quite beautiful. But these are a little bit disturbing here at the top and the bottom to me. This is sort of less than perfection for me. And here, by comparison, is the pocket version, which has the same gold embellishments, but it has symbols at the top and bottom, which I think is far preferable. Now, they haven't republished yet. I think, or I heard a rumor that Lo Scarabeo is reissuing a little at a time over the next couple of years their previous decks more in line with the symbols and removing the multi-languages. Now, I debated which one should I get for my friend, and I thought, well, she's turned 80. And so it's a little harder to see as you get older. So I thought, well, even though I like this version, it's very tiny and there's a lot of details. So it's kind of hard to pick up on everything in a card so small, and thereby appreciation of the art would be aided by a normal size or larger card. So I got this one, and there was another reason for that. I was going through the deck, and I found a card. It was a major, and on the majors, they don't have titles on the mini. They only have Roman numerals. And I have my Roman numerals memorized, but I sort of blanked out and couldn't make the connection as to which card this was, either by looking at it or by the Roman numerals. And I thought, well, if I can't remember it, she's going to have a hard time learning it. She's going to have to commit all these Roman numerals to memory for the 22 majors. I'm looking for the card so I can show you. It actually was the Sun card, and it didn't read to me as the Sun, but I'm not sure what I thought it was. Let me find it. Bear with me. There we are. I mean, it looks like a lover's card to me. It's this couple in an embrace. So, I mean, there's this sort of golden kind of circular thing at the top, but it sort of doesn't look like the sun because the gold goes all the way down the page. But if you know 19, you know 19 is the sun. And oddly, there's Roman numerals at the top and the bottom, so it doesn't say sun. Well, I guess because they're trying to get away. They're trying to find a common language, so they don't want to put sun in English. But I thought, oh, this might be a problem because it doesn't readily convey itself as the sun card. And on the regular size, it's spelled out there in 6 languages. And it's actually something that aesthetically kind of bothers me, but I don't think it would bother her. I think it would help her to identify it much easier. So here we go. So same card, and you can see right there in the corner, the sun, el sol, il sol, le soleil. Dizon. So there. So anyway, where was I going with this story? Well, this is a perfect example of decks that they don't quite live up to your expectations. I love this deck. It's not the easiest to read. I don't use it a lot. I think because of those multiple languages, and the little mini version is kind of too small for me. So I'm waiting for them to reissue this in a new edition with the symbols on the regular size cards instead of small cards, instead of the multi-languages. Share your referral link. What does that mean? New to streaming or looking of chat. Oh, StreamYard is telling me something. I hope everybody's here live, right? I think it scrolled, so yeah. Let me just double check. Hello, Claire, Donna, L. Phillips. I think that's everybody. Yeah. So anyway, while I was in the shop, I don't go to the shop that often. It's not real close to me. And picked that up. I thought, as long as I'm here, let me look around. Maybe I should pick up something for myself. And I was kind of fascinated by the gold foil. And I thought, well, I have a few of those decks. But there's one I never got around to getting. And I've been sort of trying to flesh out my classics collection of classic decks. And one of them I've never gotten around to getting, but had thought about for a while, is the Visconti Sforza. And the reason for that, part of the reason is that I think it's the oldest deck that they have examples of. And the examples that they have are in the Pierpont Morgan Library here in New York that I've never been to and never actually seen. But at some point, I hope to do that. So I went ahead and I bought this deck. And of course, I was charmed by the gold foil. And I'm not usually or easily charmed by gold. Like all these decks that have random gilding on the edges, that kind of means nothing to me. But here, if it's part of the design and it's something antique-y and it feels like there's a purpose or a reason for it being there, just than to jack the price up, then, I kind of appreciate that. It's like this deck originally was commissioned and created for a wealthy family. So I don't think it had gold on the original one, not like this shiny gold, or if they did, whatever gold they used has tarnished or aged over the time. It's not reflective anymore. But I wanted one that was flashy. So I thought, oh, I wonder why I've never gotten this. Maybe because it's a pip deck and I don't often use pip decks. And I think I had seen somebody present some kind of deluxe edition of it somewhere in their chat that were larger cards, and the coloring and everything looked beautiful. I don't remember if they had gold foil on it or not, but the reproductions look great. And I thought, well, even if I don't use the pips, I can use it as a majors only deck because I'm very comfortable with doing that anyway. But I didn't see that one, and I just picked this one up. So I looked at the cards, and I love the backs. The backs are beautiful. It's on that typical Lo Scarabeo stock, which is very flexible, bounces back. But to my horror and disappointment, these are asymmetrical. They have the multiple languages on, which I suspected they would. I thought they'd have them at the top and the bottom like all the others. These, they put on one side, which you tell me, does that disturb you more or less having them down the side than at the top of the bottom? Now you might say, oh, well, you could trim them. But the problem with trimming them is since it's off to one side, the backs would be misaligned if I trimmed it. So that really bothers me, and that got on my nerves. And it's just like, well, I'm going to have to either live with it or get rid of the deck. And I wonder what you guys do when you have a tarot deck that doesn't live up to your expectations. It's not a full deck, is it? This is a full deck. I don't know if the larger one is. If it was just a majors only, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Marilyn says, oh no, asymmetry is very disturbing to my brain. Any kind of asymmetry bothers me, says Donna. I do have this deck anyway, and I just live with it. Yeah. The backs on my deck are different. Must be a different version. Mine is a full deck. Oh. Well, apparently I have... Did I use this? No, one of the cards was out of place. I haven't used this. So, I mean, I will kind of flash through these a little bit quickly just to kill a little time as we're talking. But I'm also not sure. I need to look at it a little more. I'm not sure how I feel about these illustrations particularly, and especially the minors. Another thing, I'm separating the majors from the minors here. Another thing about the foil, I thought it would be distributed differently. Like, here's the Ace of Cups, and you can see there's a highlight in gold foil in outlining, but I thought the cup itself, being made of metal, would all be in gold foil. So that was disappointing. I'm not thrilled with the color scheme on this. That tone of kind of baby puke brown. This is supposed to be gold, that yellow ochre. And this particular shade of green combination and that sort of beige background, it just doesn't float my boat, so to speak. So, and I'm not really a big pip person anyway. I mean, that's not bad. A nice kind of arrangement, but all right, so let's go. So here we have the Fool with, I think they're feathers in his hair. And really kind of a sad expression on his face. Sorry about the reflection. You can see the computer screen in the reflection there. There's no way for me to do that. I don't think you can't. Oh, maybe if I angle like that. The magician is a seated magician. You can see a little texture in the gold foil. And there's nothing bad about this. It's just, there's a kind of a blandness, I think, in the expressions that's like, yeah. The Fool, the magician, everybody in it has a kind of an expressionless sort of like, I don't really care attitude. And don't get me wrong, I sort of like sobering or serious expressions, but these are just kind of like neither here nor there. They're kind of mopey and sort of like no expression. I feel there is room to enhance the art of the original Renaissance decks with modern symbols, but for some, it just misses. Yeah. Oh, hello, Amethyst set? Amethyst? See, she's in this glorious regal royal gown of brown with gold trim. Wouldn't it be prettier to have her in a gold gown with maybe a black outline, some other outline color for embellishments? I don't know. I don't know. But I don't like the asymmetry. So I think this will probably stay in my collection for a while until I get really picky and start honing it down. I'm kind of evolving or developing the collection from one that I use to one that has examples of historic decks. And I'm not sure how I feel about that either, because it's kind of nice to have them as a reference. And if you're teaching a class or something, or talking to others about, the evolution of tarot. But if you're not actually using the cards of the decks, is there a point, to having them? The other thing is our perspectives can change and evolve over time. There were things that, 30, 40 years ago I didn't like at all that I've come around to really enjoy and appreciate. One example is in music. I had friends doting on Billie Holiday, and I never got it. I thought, she can't sing. She can't hit a note or sustain it. What's going on? Why do people revere her so much? And one day I finally got it, that she's got this certain quality or certain style that nobody else has. And I value that. And I just fell in love with her. And ever since I really enjoyed her style and appreciated what she gave us. This is a nice hermit. Now this one has an hourglass instead of a lamp, a candle or lantern, I think. It looks like a lantern, but I think it's an hourglass. Strength. People see this as beating the lion, but I think they're going to battle together. It's a controversial card. Yeah. Where is it now? I passed it. Where is it? I've not gotten to it yet, have I? No, yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet. This is kind of interesting, though. I don't know what these animals are. The faces don't quite look like horses, and they have wings. So it's like, what do they call the flying horses? Pegasus was the name of the horse itself, but not the type of mythical being. Does anybody know? Does that have a name, a winged horse in mythology? If it does, I should know it, but I can't seem to recall it. This is a nice wheel card. I like this one because look where the gold, it's predominantly gold. And the wheel is so thin that they use the flat matte color for that, but you can see through it all the gold. And I think one of my favorites in these gold foil releases is the Golden Botticelli, if you have that one, because the air or atmosphere around all the scenes or imagery is like filigree, but it's not stamped the same on every card. It's like a different filigree design. I don't know if they repeated any, but as you look at them side by side, it feels like all of them have a completely different pattern to them. And I appreciate that. This one seems like, yeah, I think it's all the same background pattern. And here's the strength card that, who was it? Mentioned it earlier. I don't know if I see them as going into battle together. Well, it does look a little bit like it might be getting ready to charge or play, but I don't know. This still looks to me like this figure's about to beat or has beaten the lion with the club, and maybe that's why the front part has collapsed. Here we have the hangman. Did I welcome you? Nothing so strange. We just go back. One side of the duality of motivation. I interpret the part of the strength card to feminine energy manipulating nature to conform to her will. Controlling one's urges. This is an interesting death card. Temperance. I was looking at the bottom of this because it almost looks like the edge of a stage, like in Pixie's drawings or illustrations, but it's not. It's like at a cliff or water's edge or something where the soil is like broken up into this puzzling like pattern, which is kind of bizarre. But again, this kind of meh expression. Now, this one has some attitude to it, the devil. I do like this devil. It's strange, though, because I wonder if this is one that was created later, because my understanding is that they didn't have a complete version of the original illustrations in the Visconti Sforza, and that they did have to create some of the pages that were cards that were missing. And this has a very kind of more modern or contemporary quality to it than the other cards, that is maybe out of character with that medieval look. But I like it as a devil, even though it may be time-wise mismatched. Donna says the devil and the tower are replaced. Okay. Yeah. This tower look. I mean, I actually like I wouldn't mind a deck by whoever illustrated or replaced these two cards and have a whole deck more in this style. That devil is too simp. I have several Visconti tarots, all with different devils and towers. Oh, now that's interesting. Here's the star card. I think what I was going to say, too, about me being disappointed or this not living up to my expectations, what one should always do is do your research. And I didn't do my research, or I did look at this some time ago, but completely put it out of my head about the languages on the side and what the images were like. I just had a general memory of it and went with that. But had I rewatched somebody's walkthrough, and there are probably a number of them, I might not have got this deck. I might have bought something else. I also was looking at a couple of Il Meneghello decks, but they were considerably pricier, and I just wasn't sure. I wasn't finding the ones that I wanted or were looking for, and the ones that they had, I didn't feel motivated strongly enough for that. Also, I think when I gave the Klimt to her, we were meeting for brunch, and she and a friend were on their way to the Frick Museum. And I think that was in my mind. The Frick Museum also has a lot of antique kind of art. And so I was thinking, oh, I want some little piece of antiquery with gold. So that's why I got this. It has sort of history to it. And one of my favorite cafes in the city is Cafe Reggio. And they have, I believe, some artwork or some benches that belong to the Visconti family. I might be confusing families, but they have antiquary, antique items in their decor. Now, this isn't strictly the Marseille pattern. This is a pip deck, not a Marseille, because this alignment with the cup tipped on top, that's what they usually do with the 10 of cups, not the 5. So, yeah, I don't know what you call this one. Just a pip deck, I guess. So, fussy bitch that I am, I want my cards to have a certain quality of expression, a certain style and character, a certain palette. I mean, there are colors that I like, but if they're slightly the wrong hue or tone or shade of that color, I like them less. And this one is just an odd mix of blue, green, and gold and beige that just kind of really doesn't do it for me. They also don't really match the backs in color in terms of the front, but I just realize now as I'm doing this too that these gold foil decks are not the easiest ones to share on video because of the reflection. We have the, what are they calling them? The coins, the denier, the pentacles. Oh, they're not really pentacles. They really are coins, I think. I think pentacles very specifically have a star within the circle, and none of these do. So, yeah, I don't think they should use that name. Now here it says denari, pentacles, denier, oros, and munzen. Didn't the devil go missing in the original? Don't think there's a surviving example. Yeah. Even so, at some point, I will get myself to the Morgan Library and have a look at these firsthand. Also, for anyone in town that's interested, I might have mentioned this last week, Robert M. Place is doing a little guided talk at the Metropolitan Museum of Art on, I forget which day of the week. I think it might be a Thursday, but it's July 17th. Thursday, July 17th, meeting in the lobby at 1:30 or 1:40, I think he said. And at 2 o'clock, they will be in a room where he will talk us through examples of ancient tarot art in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So I'm quite excited about the possibility of doing that. However, I think it's in one of those small rooms where everybody stands around showcases and stuff. And my stamina for standing in one place is, or even walking for that matter, walking for long stretches of time is compromised. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I should, it's just the price of admission to the museum, which I think is a donation. So maybe I should go regardless and then stay as long as I can handle it. And if I can't stand any longer, I'll just leave, go find a place to sit down. And I would be going more to see the examples than to hear Robert M. Place, although he is highly knowledgeable and quite a scholar. So it will be fun to go. Can you bring a portable seat with you, Robin? Perhaps. I think I have a sort of a cane that with a fold-out seat, which is a little bit awkward, and I'm not really sure if it's still functional or supports my weight, but I might do that. Of course, it'll be a little weird if I'm the only one in the room of standing people that's sitting down and might not be able to see from the vantage point of sitting, but I could still hear him speak. Now, these are the wands we're looking at in this deck. One thing I do like about the arrangement of the pips in this deck is when we get to the swords, which we shall in a minute, most Marseille decks, which again, I said this isn't really Marseille, have curved scimitar type swords, and this one doesn't. Well, I think the ace is straight, but the others are usually curved, and these are not. These are straight swords with hilts. which I like better. I like it better than the scimitars. There always seemed like a sort of an inconsistency to me between the ace and the other swords, one being straight and the others being bent. But I think even the ones that have a sword down the middle, like so, I think the ones on the side are curved and the one in the center is straight. That's a little odd. What is like about this is it actually doesn't look like a system, so you can bring many cross-referential meanings. And after all, it was a game of trumps and not for divination, says Claire. Saskia, wish I had a magic carpet to whisk me over for that talk. Sounds great. Timmy, Botticelli supposedly had a hand in the design of the Florentine Marseille deck. Interesting. So I'm curious, you guys, how you feel when you build up expectations about a deck and it doesn't live up to your expectations. What do? Do you live with it? Do you pass it on? Do you ditch it? Do you modify it? Or do you take preventive action from that happening in the future by doing more research? Sometimes, we get stuff on these walkthroughs where the images look nice, but then you get the cards in your hand and texture or card flexibility is not something that's easily conveyed in a walkthrough. And you really kind of have to handle the cards. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky. And we haven't reached that stage yet where we can convey that in a way that is really helpful. This is a fairly thin deck, but I don't find the cards to be flimsy. There's a trend these days for people liking cards very thick, and your deck would be 2 to 3 times this thickness. That's not my thing. I like a card to feel like a playing card. I like that flexibility, and I like it to feel thin and not so thin and flimsy like a piece of paper. It's still card, but it's not like a Hallmark greeting card like some of the ones today are. That's that thick kind of fluffy card stock that's matte, and I want a little bit of a coating on there, a little lamination or something, and I want them to glide, to be able to, they don't stick together, that they slip and slide around. I want to feel that. I love the cha-cha sound of thick art stock. I do so much research before I buy that I usually know what I'm getting. I'm rarely surprised. If it's an unknown brand, I always try to find a walkthrough where the person describes the cardstock. 310 linen. I like linen. I like, I don't even know what this is called. Satin or slick sheen, not glossy. I prefer a little bit of a sheen to matte or gloss. But one of my favorite decks to use these days in my everyday bag is the uh, Marseille Tarot by Victoria. Never can remember if it's Victoria or Patricia Dorsch. I'll show you in a second. At the moment, I'm struggling with the tuck box. Look what happens on the tuck box. The bottom edge or the top edge here got mangled, and also in the corner. Don't you hate that? That's why tuck boxes are not my friend. I do like the two-part boxes that have been recently gaining popularity, although I kind of prefer the ones with an upper lid and a bottom box to damn it, I can't get this in, I'll deal with it later, to something like this. I mean, this is nice, and this one in particular is snug, but sometimes they're too loose on the top. I prefer ones more like, shall we say, this, the Tarot 1909, that's got a lift-off box. Now this one doesn't have any thumb inserts here to help, so if it's snug, you're going to have trouble. Luckily, this is snug enough not to slip out, but the weight of the deck will pull it out. Which I might say, once the deck is out, you maybe don't want to put the lid back on because there's no longer any weight to pull the bottom out, and that might be a problem. But that's kind of my preferred kind of box for tarot cards. Now, where is I was going to show you this cardstock that is odd, that I like, because it is matte and it's different from other decks that I have. I got this, they had these on Amazon as I think 3 for $10 or something, and it's like suede cloth in different colors. I don't know what it was under, tarot pouches or tarot containers or storage, or I don't know, but nice. It folds out as like a pocket, and there's enough room on here to do a spread of anywhere from 3 to 5 cards. Well, this is one that I found I was turned on to by Kelly Bear, and I wasn't keen on the back design at first, but I've kind of gotten used to it. And the cardstock, it's not like a real thick cardstock, but it is more like heavier card than playing card. And it's matte. And I don't usually like matte, but it's kind of like an art stock. It glides pretty well, and it feels really nice. And when I was talking about palettes, I love color palettes. I've shown this already before, but I'll flash through it for you. This is a majors only, and I really love the color palette in this. Not only is it like lots of colors, which makes me think of sunshine, spring, and summer. I'm really enjoying this during these seasons. But also the hues of the colors I like. Like, I'm not a big fan of red, but when it's more of a tomatoey, orangey red, I like it better. And the greens in here are more like a teal or a turquoise or something, and I like that. So that combination is nice. And the yellows and oranges are very bright. It's cheery. I love the playfulness of this. It conveys the Marseille majors, but in a kind of a modern touch, but traditional illustration. I love this hermit with his glasses. Wonderful. Is it raining out? I'm hearing raindrops. It is. We've got a Saturday afternoon spritz. So this is one of actually my current top 5 favorites that goes in my carry-all bag when I go to the cafe, and which I go like every other day or every third day. And I will sit there and linger, people watch and stuff over my coffee, but I'll do my cards and I consult all the different decks. And that's fun. And people will tell you not to do that. Don't ask the same question of different decks. But I think they do that because it's like, don't ask the same question of different decks expecting a better answer. No, or a different answer. You might get a different answer, but I find that they have different perspectives on the same answer, different points of view, but you really do get the same answer. And you really know it when you're using majors only, and from deck to deck, you get certain cards that reappear. That puts a little extra emphasis on those cards in the reading. And this one, well, you'll have to look back through my reviews as to whether her name is Patricia Dorsch or I think it's Victoria Dorsch, Dorche, and she's from France, and you have to order it online from France, but I think it came in under 2 weeks to America. So yeah, it's really, really pretty. And I think it's just called oh, wait a minute, I got the box. Where did I put the box? It's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. It's hiding between 2 other decks. It is Victoria. The Tarot de Marseille. Don't like the box design, really, but again, a tuck box. Victoria Dorsch. So make a note if you want that. I think it might be around 30 or 40 bucks for, but it's very special. I think it's a limited edition, I believe. And oh, Pride Month. We got the rainbow here. I thought there was an extra card in there with an explanation, but there's not. Yeah, I love this, but I don't carry it in the box anymore. I have its own pouch, which makes it a little easier to get in and out as often as I use it. So here we are at 153. If anybody's got any questions, I think I've just about used up my tank, my allotment for the day. Yes, the worst things for me is if the cards stick clumped together. I'd rather have thinner cards that glide. I do a lot of research before I buy too. I hate disappointment. I'm Actuator, scanning the many of El Tarot card, going to have it printed on decent card stock. Love the images but can't stand the paper it's on. Il Meneghello changed cardstock for their Etruria Minchiati. It's thin, very disappointed. The boxes are a letdown. Can't afford to do that much, but I really am intrigued by the art. Tarot wraps, I think I have them too. It says Moom in Tarot. Have you crocheted any tarot pouches, Robin? I made one similar to that design, of course. It's bulkier than the suede cloth. I made some taro pouches a while back. I don't care much for them. I have a couple here. Like, I don't have a deck in it, but here's one with a flap at the top. It's just, simple bag, no button, no slot. I just fold this over the cards and tuck it in, and that works. But I'm not that keen on it. Here's another one. It's just bigger. Same kind of design, really. If you search tarot accessories, you can find them. I have several and I like them. Yeah. I might get some more. Problem is that they do come in a variety of colors, but I think I'm at the stage now where I'm repeating colors, and then I sort of like lose track of what deck is in each one. Thank you. I've enjoyed listening to your thoughts. I wish more people would give honest opinions, because surely we can't like everything all the time. I don't, and pass them on. Thanks, Claire. Pretty, is it still in print? I guess you mean the Doris. Yes, I think she's, don't know if it's in print, but she still has copies. Is that the same thing as in print? I think it was a limited edition, but I don't think she sold them all out, and I don't know how many she did. Because I think Kelly Bear got it several years ago, and I only discovered it on her channel a couple months back, and then I bought one, and I was surprised I could still get it. What's it called? Tarot de Marseille by Victoria Dorsch. Do you have any plastic decks? MPC has a plastic 2.0 I'm thinking about. I'd like a deck in plastic. What are your thoughts? Yes, I've done some of my decks in plastic. I did a copy of my open face in regular finish, linen finish, and plastic. The plastic I didn't like because my cards are very simplistic. They're kind of a burnt umber on beige, or not beige, sort of ivory. And for some reason, the plastic one had a slightly green tinge to it, or tint to it, that I didn't like at first. But they are very flexible and very durable. Now, my favorite one was my original one with the sheen, but what I've found over time, I don't know if there's a way to clean cards without destroying them. I don't know if they picked up oils from my fingers or what, but when I shuffle, it's hard to shuffle 22 cards. It's such a thin deck, and you sort of rely on the weight a little bit. And I do overhand shuffling. But initially, if a deck is good for overhand, the weight will carry and drop the cards. And mine did initially, but now they're tending to clump. There are certain cards that, like 2 or 3 of them, don't quite separate when they fall. And I don't know if it's my handling of the edges or the fact that there's a buildup of oils from the fingers or whatever that's keeping them from doing that. But it's I switched. I now use either the plastic ones, which still glide and slip easily, and they can be washed and dried, or I use the linen ones. And I think the linen, it's somehow the lines don't feel quite as sharp because the little indentations and the linen pattern seems to affect the lines on a kind of microscopic level. but because of those little indentations, there's like air pockets, and so there's not a tendency for the cards to stick. They glide easier, I find. So that you might find that true of linen decks when you use them. And I do have a couple other plastic ones. My Lenormand deck I did in plastic, and it looks great. The colors there are very accurate. So it was just that one deck that I thought, oh, I don't know if I like this green tinge, or maybe I'm just imagining it, but it does feel a little off. The other ones, the colors are very bright and clear, and they wear very well. All right, thank you everybody for joining me. You have other worlds to conquer, so I'm going to let you go, and I hope to see you all again next week. Bye.